Hey guys, Johnny Lawrence here, and today I wanted to drop the law on life after deaths. Not life after your death, but life after deaths in general. Because a person's death, for the person that's left behind, can be absolutely devastating. I've watched people literally spend their entire life or the rest of it after someone passed waiting to meet up with the person that passed again. So basically they were living, but truly from the second the other person died, they started dying. You know, the reason I bring this up is this week I'm burying two people, an old buddy from high school, and in 2 days I'll be in Florida for my aunt's service. And I loved her very dearly. One of my favorite people in the world. My mom's best friend, just an amazing lady. R.I.P. Kaydana Dandona. Pizzo. She has like 17 names. But, you know, we are all going to die, no matter what. It's inevitable. You know, my dad passed at 58 years old. He was my hero. He was my inspiration. You'll hear me quote things a lot of times that my dad has said, okay? But we're all going to die, okay? 58 years young. That is very young to pass. So after my dad passed away, I had a bunch of anxiety about myself passing away. I've got 4 children. I've got a wife. I started to worry about, you know, what were the kids going to do if I was gone? You know, I tend to take care of a lot of people around me. What are they going to do? Blah, blah, blah. I don't want to die. You know, I mean, that's it. You close your eyes. It's over for eternity. It's done. Right? I mean, you know, never to be seen or heard again. You know, and I started thinking about the billions of people that have passed away. And stuff like that, you know, and it can get really overwhelming. I found myself out in my yard at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, walking, getting fresh air, having anxiety, and this went on for a good 6 months. Well, what happened first, my dad passed away, and I didn't process it because I was busy being strong for everybody who needed it. And then when that all kind of slowed down and everybody settled in, it hit me like a ton of bricks. So, you know, honestly, I quote my dad a lot, but I have a very intuitive, smart, loving, caring mother who's taught me a bunch too. And this one was huge because she said to me, well, let me say this. Let me preface it by saying this. I said to her, Mom, you are getting older, okay? A lot of people that you grew up with have passed away, okay? Now Dad's gone. He's passed away. Don't you get scared to pass away? Aren't you scared? I said, it's terrifying me. I'm having a lot of trouble with it. And you know what my mom said? In her typical North Toledo fashion. Oh, Johnny, what are you going to do? Sit around and worry for 20 years about 1 minute you can't control anyway? And that was it for my anxiety. I was like, well, that's a great point. You can't stop it. It doesn't matter. If you're conscious during it, you're going to be scared. That's just the way it is. It's generally, for most people, lasts about a minute or two. You know, doesn't go on and on and on. If it does, half the time there's subconscious in a hospital bed somewhere. You know, I'm not making light of it. I'm just saying you can't stop it. So don't live your life terrified of it. Okay? Now, the opposite is don't live your life not worrying about it at all and not giving yourself some deadlines here to get some things done that you want to get done. You know, I recently was talking to one of my family members I'm real close with. His name is Austin. And I was telling him, hey, you know, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. And he's like, you know, that's quite a list or whatever. And I'm like, listen, I'm 43 years old. You know, my dad died at 58. I don't think I will. I think I'll live longer than that. But even so, you know, I want to get these things done. I want to be accomplished by, you know, I want to have done some things in my life. So, you know, you have to have the deadline too, without the paranoia, right? You know, but let me tell you something that my dad did say to me on his deathbed. And I'm so glad he said this to me, because I am the type of person who would have done this had he not said this. He said to me, he said, Johnny, don't live your life finishing my dreams. And I said, well, you know, what do you mean, Dad? He said, well, my life was my life. I was born. God put me on earth. Some of my talents I used amazingly. Some of them I regret I never did. There's certain things I should have done that I didn't. There's a whole list of those, you know. And there's a whole list of things that I'm proud of. But I'm definitely going to leave this earth with some unfinished business. We all do. If you're at all a goal setter or all a person who's trying to live their life, the day you pass on, you're going to, you know, you're going to be unfinished. Life's like golf. You never win, right? He said, but what I don't want you to do is spending 10 years attempting to finish the things that I started. Okay? Because that'll be 10 years of your life. And I promise you, when you sit on your deathbed like I am, okay, one of the things that you're going to regret is taking those 10 years to finish my work. You know, I'm going to tell you guys this, and that's really, really important. You know, I'm in a business where I deal with a lot of young people, and a lot of young people are carrying around their parents' death, a loved one that was close to them, their death. They're carrying these things like anchors and weights. I see people medicate themselves with alcohol. I see people self-medicate themselves with marijuana. I see them medicate themselves with pills. I mean, and it's a lot of times it's one simple thing. Someone has died that they haven't processed, okay, and that they're not willing to just grieve and get it over with. There's nothing wrong with grieving. You should grieve, okay? But, you know, grieving has a time limit. And then it's time to go on with your life. You know, I'm really glad my dad said what he said to me. I want to tell you something. You all have your own separate life. You all have, you know, your own set of goals, your own set of priorities that you need to fulfill in your life. Okay? And here's the other thing, and I truly believe this. And I'm just kind of ranting today, but I think that people don't care if you were there when they died. Because, you know, they're in a better place. They're in total bliss. I don't think that you're going to be up there and, you know, in God's presence and be around all this amazing feeling and bright, warm light and however you exist in heaven, okay? And you're going to be like, I would just be happy only if my daughter would have made it across town in time. That's absurd. Do you know how many people that I've met in my life that literally can't get past the fact that they didn't make it home in time? The people in heaven don't care. They don't care. Okay? Here's the other thing I truly believe. And again, I don't have any degree in theology or anything, but I also believe this. I believe that being sad is a human emotion, and it's not an afterlife emotion. Okay? So, you know, when someone passes, we're sad. They're not sad. You know? I think you should celebrate the fact that you had the opportunity to have them in your life. I think you should celebrate all their accomplishments. I think you should celebrate the impact they had on your life when they pass. And every time you think of someone who passed, you should smile, not cry. Not that it's not going to creep up on you every so often, because it might. Okay? You know, I'd be a liar if I told you that occasionally I don't cry over my dad. I miss my dad. And certain things will come up and it'll hit me hard. A picture will pop up or this or that, and I'll start to cry. Okay? That's life. That's what happens. Okay? But the majority of the time I think of my dad, I think with a smile on my face, all the things he did, how funny he was, all the things he taught me, how fortunate I was that I got to have him as a dad. Okay? Same thing with my buddy that just passed. Yes, it's a sad situation. Okay? And yes, if you pass when you're super young, people are like, that's tragic. It is tragic in a way because there's some things unfilled, but everyone's gonna pass. My buddy was 43 years old. He passed away. He made some choices. He passed away. You know what? I guess he lived his life the way he wanted to. Okay? And he went out the way he wanted to. So, but I'm not going to go there and be sad. I'm going to go there and celebrate. And every time I think of my buddy, I'm going to celebrate his passing. You know what I mean? Into the next level, into the next world, whatever realm or world that may be to you. To me, it's unparalleled happiness. So if you really believe in what you believe in, okay, and if you have any form of religion, I mean, they're all pretty uniformly the same. The end result is eternal bliss. So if someone passes and they were a good person, then you got to believe that they're gonna have to answer for what they did up there. I believe they're gonna have a little question and answer session up there for sure. But I believe that if they were a good person and really lived their life right, then they're in eternal bliss. And then we're sitting down here sad, which is a human emotion, while they're up there partying. And that makes no sense to me. That's what are we doing? That doesn't make any sense. Why are we doing that, right? Okay, so, I'm just ranting today, but listen, I had one of my very, very good friends passed away my senior year of high school, and I had to process that. A star athlete, him, his brother, and his sister all passed away at the same time. I had a grandma that was really, really a huge influence in my life. Two of them both passed away. My dad's passed away. I've had friends pass away. You know what I mean? You have to process these things. You have to think about them. You have to understand it's okay to be sad about them. And then you have to also understand it's time to move on after them. Okay? Because, if you waste too much time, trying to fulfill what they wanted you to fulfill, or listen, and I want my dad's legacy to live on. I'm not saying that. I quote my dad all the time. I do things my dad did all the time. I treat people like my dad treated people. I try to. Okay? That's how I make my dad's legacy live on. Not sitting around and thinking of him sadly day in and day out because I miss him so much, which I do. Okay? It's just not the way to do it. It's not the way. Because remember one thing. If you don't let go of what's weighing you down, you're never going to fly. You are never going to fly. So, you want to fly with the eagles? Then you've got to drop some of that cargo. Okay? Because heavy birds don't fly as high as light, fast ones. Okay? And we need to drop some of that cargo. I want you to think about what I said today. I've had this talk with many of the young people I've mentored over the years. But I really want you to think about this. If you're one of those people and you're drinking or you're smoking some weed or you're just maybe you're not doing anything, but you're just kind of feel stationary since that death happened, it might be time to have a good cry and say to yourself, okay, let's think about everything that I'm thankful, the time I was, that I'm thankful for the time that I had with that person. And then, let's celebrate their life and their legacy by your own success and your own happiness. Because I promise you this, if my dad was here or whoever you're mourning was here, and you could sit and have a conversation with them now that they've been passed, I promise you that they would say to you, don't waste your time. Just have fun. Enjoy your life. Okay? Because when you get up here, you're going to find out that all that weird stuff that you hold on to that weighed you down, it's all gone. Okay? Anyway, that's just some rantings today. I'm dropping the law on life after deaths. And hopefully that little nugget helped you a little bit. and maybe process some things. And you know what? Remember, today's a good day to be great. Today's a good day to be positive, and today's a good day to rock life. Don't let life rock you. Peace out.